Hi, everybody. My name is Pavel. I am teaching spatial statistics this semester. Welcome to the course and welcome to the fall 2020. Fall 2020 is going to be different. Case in point, I had some technological issues recording this. I had to do it a few times. So fall 2020 is going to be a different kind of experience for everyone involved. So I am very pleased to meet everyone. As far as what to call me, Pavel is just fine. If you feel you absolutely must get the doctor thing in there, I also go by Dr. C, but again, first name basis is just fine with me. So let's take a look at the syllabus for the course. My plan for today is to have one video on just the syllabus, kind of talking about the course, and another video, maybe even shorter than this one, to kind of just start to get into the material just a little bit. So with that, let me share my screen that has the syllabus that is already up. Okay. So I've already introduced myself. Here is my email. Here is my physical office, but of course, because this is 2020, I do not plan to be on campus at all in fall of 2020. Never say never, but I currently have no plans for that. So that means that we're going to have virtual office hours. Here is the Zoom link to my personal Zoom room. This is a clickable link, so you can copy paste, you can save it as you see fit. The office hours are scheduled for Tuesday and Wednesday during these times. These are mountain times of the United States. So tomorrow and Wednesday, I'm just encouraging folks to show up and just introduce themselves. This is a different kind of experience for me. I enjoy teaching in person much more than online. I enjoy interacting with students. I would love to meet you. Of course, not a requirement whatsoever, but I would love to just stop by, if you stop by and chat just for a little while, either tomorrow from 2 to 4 or Wednesday from 11 to 1. We're going to see a lot of each other this semester. I'm teaching 2 courses, and I know that there was a non-trivial number of students who are in both courses. So you're going to see me even more. So let's just introduce ourselves and kind of get the conversation started. This is our official room on campus. Clearly, it doesn't matter because as of a week or 2 ago, I made this into a mostly asynchronous online course. I was holding out hope for in-person instruction, but because the university is starting online and ending the semester online, I just didn't feel it was worth it to have everyone come out for what will amount to, say, 3 in-person meetings. I was trying to have the activities portion of this course be an in-person event. So where we would show up all together in a room and go through the activity. But now with the new opening guidelines, I decided that the content will be delivered asynchronously via recorded videos, like what you're hopefully watching right now. And the in-class activities are going to be conducted synchronously during our usual class time. If for whatever reason you can't make it, obviously do try. In my experience, students who keep up with the activities tend to understand the material better, tend to do better on the homeworks that are worth much more of the grade, and do better on the final project that is worth a lot of the grade. So do try to keep up with the activities. But if you decide that one week you're gonna work through it on your own, if you're totally cool with the material, that is just fine with me. Just communicate that with me. And we're a fairly small class, so I hope to get to know you guys beyond just the name on the screen. So the key takeaway there is just communicate with me. These activities are gonna be done synchronously, but I have some flexibility around that. Textbooks. There is no required textbook for this course. In fact, I'm not sure that there is a good spatial statistics textbook for an introductory sort of upper level undergrad, lower level grad course. I'm not sure that a single book can cover the breadth of material that is needed at a level that doesn't turn people off. So here are 4 books that I used to kind of prepare the materials for this course. These are the 4 books that inspired the material for this course. But don't go buying these books. In fact, I think that's not a good idea. More so, if I have inspired you to pursue spatial statistics after the course, I hope I do, I will try my best, then have a conversation with me and I will direct you which one of these books hits your area of research best. So like I said, don't waste your money buying these before the course or even during the course. After the course, I think these would be great reference texts that can sort of be there for you to go back to if you're doing research, if you're doing work that requires a lot of spatial analysis. Okay, so some idea about the course. This is an introductory spatial statistics course. My goal is to provide you with a variety of spatial stats topics. And maybe frustratingly, I won't have time to dive too deep into any single one. But when I kind of stop with the material, with the depth of the material, I will try to point out where you can go if you're super interested in any one topic, where you can go and sort of continue that trajectory deeper into the material. I think my job at an introductory spatial stats course is to give you that, overview. And unfortunately, we just won't have time to do the, say, the matrix algebra required to dive deeper into some topics. So with that, R will be absolutely essential. Spatial data is fundamentally multidimensional, right? If you think about measuring something on the surface of the Earth, we'll be dealing with, an X coordinate, a Y coordinate, and what you're actually measuring. Or maybe you're measuring several things, usually measuring several things. So we'll be dealing with multidimensional data, or highly dimensional data. And that kind of data is just naturally difficult to work with. So there will be times that data manipulation in this course will be complex. The other thing that makes working with spatial data complex is that the syntax for all the R packages that deal with spatial data is not unified. It is not like tidyverse. It is not like ggplot2. The people who develop these packages didn't talk to each other, so the syntax is a little different. Now, what I'll say about the code is it'll be rare that you will have to develop, say, 200 lines of code on your own. What I require the students to do is look at my code that I will post, understand what different parts of the code are doing, and be able to modify, be able to interact with my code to sort of modify it to do something different. Or extend my code, the infrastructure that I give you, extend that a little bit further. So don't expect having to develop, long, large amounts of code on your own from scratch. More so, when I give you our code, here is what this analysis does. I will expect you to kind of go through and understand what each line does, or what sets of lines do, so that you can modify things where needed to complete assignments and tasks like that. Now, I mentioned that there is a final project component to this course. I'm a big believer in the final project. I think it's very important to be able to learn material and then be able to synthesize that material in an application, in a thorough, well thought out application to a single data set. And that's what I consider to be the final project. I think it's very important. And, the way I think about the final project is that it gives me an idea of what you're coming away from the course with. What is the material that you're leaving me with? So even for a student that is struggling through the course up until the final project, and then just blows the final project out of the water, I have no problem essentially grading the final project. I have here that the final project is worth 30%. But I have no problem if I see that the final project is much better than all the other assignments. I have no problem sort of assigning a greater weight to that final project, because that is the time that you kind of put it all together. I mentioned briefly that the material, like what you're watching now, will be delivered asynchronously. In-class activities worth 20% of the grade will be conducted synchronously via Zoom. Here is our YouTube channel. This is a clickable link that goes, if I flip my screen, to right over here. This is going to be our YouTube page that I will post videos on. Clearly, this video has not yet been uploaded, so that's why there are no videos up at the time of recording. What I'm trying to sort of foster a sense of community, to try and sort of encourage participation, encourage interaction. I'm trying to get this online participation component going. I'm new at this, so we'll see how it works, but I've talked to a few faculty who have done something similar last semester, and they said that it worked pretty well. So what I'm asking you guys to do is at least once per week, post a question about the material, answer an existing question about the material, or sort of contribute to an ongoing discussion thread. You can also comment how the material relates to either your research in general, or current world events. Now, we are, of course, living through a pandemic, and we're talking about spatial analysis and spatial data. And I hope that it's not too difficult to relate what we're learning to kind of the current state of the world. Right now in Colorado, there are a ton of wildfires. And wildfires are a very spatial process. The pollution from wildfires is a very spatial process. So I hope this is not too onerous a task to do once a week. And so I'm just hoping to see one participation from every student. I will not grade the question or the comment. I will only just record that you have, in fact, participated that week. If there's a question that's directed at me, I would be happy to answer it. If it's a general comment or a general question, I will sort of stand back to let the, hopefully the conversation flow more freely, or as freely as possible during this remote teaching situation. The activities I mentioned briefly will be done synchronously. The way the activities will work, I will upload a Word document that will have sort of a guided analysis of a real data set with parts of code for you to run and then evaluate the results. There'll be parts where I'm asking you to write your own code or modify my code. And so, you know, you will have the class period to complete the assignment, but I also will be giving you the assignment will be due, these in-class activities will be due 24 hours after the completion of our in-class meetings. So what I've noticed is sometimes students who are thinking very deeply about the material, who are asking the what if questions, they tend to have trouble finishing the activity during the time slot because they're busy with the what if questions. And I want to encourage the what if questions. That is, I think, a very important part of this experience, to have that interaction, to make sure that we're not just doing this YouTube thing. I want to hear from you guys, and I want to be able to answer your questions, as they come up. So I'll give you those 24 hours so that you don't worry about getting the activity done on time, and so you're able to sort of process the material more freely during the in-class activity portion. Homework assignments, there are only 3. There are no exams. So there's only 3 homework assignments, and so I think of them as sort of mini projects. So they're going to be something like 1, 2, or 3 questions, and there might be a little bit of everything. There might be some mathematical derivation, light mathematical derivation. There might be some, definitely data analysis and interpretation. Definitely, we'll be using and writing code in R. Definitely making maps. And so once I post the assignment, I'll give you at least 1 week to complete the assignment. So for both the in-class activities and the homework assignment, I'm encouraging you to work in groups, but everyone must, of course, turn in their own copy of the assignment. The final project I talked a little bit about. I'm still trying to decide whether to sort of tell people to form groups, or maybe I will form groups for you, or I will just say, okay, everybody work separately on the final project. I'm still trying to decide what will work best for our class format. So I will provide more details on that at a later date. The final project will be due on the last day of finals week, which is December 11th, 2020. The final grades have to be done by, I think, the 17th. So I'll have to grade it pretty quickly. If you have it to me earlier than this, that'd be great. If not, I'll be more than happy to get it on May 11th. Grading scale, I think, is pretty standard. University of Wyoming does not do plus or minus grades, so 90% is an A, guarantees an A, 80% guarantees a B, so on and so forth. Does it mean that this 90% will never ever move? No, I can see a world where an 89 or maybe even an 88 is an A. Obviously, once we start moving it too much, I get itchy. An A should mean something, and so this is not a number that is set in stone, but the key word here, of course, is guarantees. So if you have a 90% in the class, you are guaranteed an A. If you have an 80% in the class, you are guaranteed a B. Attendance policy, this is my attendance policy when we have in-person instruction. Attendance policy during a mostly asynchronous online course, it's kind of weird to think through. My biggest thing is that you guys are well into your academic careers. In fact, I think most of you are graduate students. I intend to fully treat you as adults and people who are fully responsible for their academic future. So just keep up with the material. If there's a week that you have to devote to field work, there's a week that you have to devote to a different project, I totally get it as long as you make up the work in a different week. I will not be checking who's watching what, when, as long as you guys are keeping up on the material, you're keeping up on the activities, you're keeping up with the homework assignments, we're not gonna have a problem. Further, with a class like this and with a lot of graduate students, there's usually very good reasons that sometimes I will need to accommodate you because there is a conference to go to. You have a job talk, you have jury duty, you have military service. All of those are good reasons that, I can push back a deadline for you. Goes without saying that if you get sick with COVID or anything else, or if I get sick with COVID, anything else, all scheduling goes out the window. Of course, I will accommodate you. That goes without saying. School has to take a back seat if you get sick. So just stay in communication. We're a small class. Let's keep the communication channels open. Academic dishonesty, I won't harp on this. Don't do it. This is not fun for me to adjudicate. You are well familiar with it. If you're not, here's the link to read through it. Please don't do it. There is a bunch of other COVID-related language, Zoom-related language, classroom behavior policy, other important things there that I'm sure you're familiar with, that you've seen in other syllabi that I won't waste your time reading right now, but they're here for you to peruse and ask questions if you have them. Here are my favorite statistics quotes of all time. I've had these forever since I started teaching what feels like 10 years ago, but probably close to 10 years ago. I think they're mostly fun. And here is the approximate course schedule. I think the key word here is approximate. One thing that I don't yet know, because I have not taught very much online, and I definitely have not taught this course online, is exactly how long the material will take to go through. If you think about it, that we have 75-minute class periods. And I like to give about call it a 10-minute break in the middle so that people can check their phones, get take a walk in, go outside. So just call it that we have 60 minutes of class time. But, you know, during in-person instruction, I don't talk at you for 60 minutes. At least I hope not, right? I hope that there is interaction. I hope there are questions. I hope there are what ifs. I hope that, you know, I take time to write things out on the board. I hope that there is in-person, in-class discussion. So in short, I don't foresee there being 60 minutes worth of material every class time. I'm going to shoot for something like 40 minutes, something like 45 minutes worth of material, maybe even less. I'm going to start slow today because I feel like everyone is getting started. I had a ton of tech issues. I'm sure you have too. So it's okay if we start slow. It's okay if we don't have 60 minutes worth of statistics every class time. But if there's a question that you want to ask, please do not hesitate. Either come to my office hours. I will be there, you know, during the times, the full 4 hours every week. Drop me an email. You know, if you would like, schedule a Zoom meeting with me. So please do ask questions. Although clearly in this class format, you can't ask me questions as I'm delivering the material. One thing to look at here, I have the activities, our synchronous activities written out. The approximate dates for these. Our first activity will be next week on Thursday, where we'll be making some maps. And you will see a couple of buffer days where I just went, I have no idea. It might be that this activity occurs on the Thursday and not on the Tuesday. It might be that this activity occurs on the Thursday and not on the Tuesday. I just can't predict the future that far in advance. Our finals week will be during this time. Final projects are due, and just as an FYI to both me and you, when the final grades for this semester are due. Okay, this concludes my usual spiel about the syllabus. Again, if you have questions that come up, drop me an email, stop by my office hours, or just stop by my office hours to introduce yourself. I'm happy to see you. I'm going to close this video, and I will record another video where we just get started on the material. So thanks so much for your attention, and I'll see you in the next video shortly. Thank you, guys.